Come see this thing 1562, Murphy x Molyneux, Legally Bondi, Progressive Dream Rule. This is a series where I summarize rantatonne posts made up of at least 3 things I've read, seen, or heard. First question, do your inspirations inspire each other? In this section, I feature a Bob Murphy Show episode where he has Stefan Molyneux on, and these are 2 balding men that have taught me a lot. I still look up to them, still listen to a lot of their content. Bob Murphy more on the Austrian School of Economics as an economist, and Stefan Molyneux as a philosopher, and he's moved more from politics and just following more on just general philosophy as is. This reminded me of something that's happened a few times where 2 of my friends who have been friends with for some time finally meet and they hit it off. And you're like, yeah, I knew I liked something about you. And then it's kind of confirmed by the other person you like liking something about that other person. It's just kind of a cool feeling. And then I found out Bob Murphy was actually aware of and had met Stefan Molyneux some years back, which kind of makes sense since Stefan Molyneux has been talking about free market economics, kind of the Austrian school sort of things, and the non-aggression principle. I think before the Mises Institute related people really got as popular as they are now, of which Bob Murphy is one of them. Molyneux also talks about how he's more accepting of Christianity now. And I think when I first found him, I was also more actively anti-theist, focusing mostly on the effects of Christianity, which I thought was dominant in the cultures that I lived in. But now I realize that's actually stateism, which is a form of metheism that's the most dangerous. Leading us to the next question, will Bondi use or diffuse the bombshells? First, something on this Canada's war on Christianity and the title of the Vivan Barnes video. The West is currently the best way that humans have figured out how to live, not due to Christianity, but due to being the sort of environment that could have an enlightenment that would make a Bronze Age belief system like Christianity have to evolve into its current benign state. If you target power structures in a historically Christian country, most of those power structures will be Christian. If you target religious beliefs in a majority Christian population, the average people you target will be Christians. And also when you talk about white people, most of them are Christian. So if you have issues where the state, the new statist religion, that kind of power, regressivism and things like that is targeting people, most of them will just be Christian. Because sure, for every Christian baker you can point at, or every church being closed during the pandemic and things like that, I can also point to how majority of the people, especially on the right, who are ascendant and in power and looked up to, are devoutly Christian. Like Candace Owens, who Barnes talks about here with the court case from the Macrons. And I think from what he talks about, she's probably pretty cooked. And unfortunately, with how right Barnes tends to be on these things, he might be right about Pam Bondi, the AG, just being somebody put in by the swamp or the power people to diffuse these so-called explosive bombshells being released over and over again. Last question, is the progressive dream an alternative to the American dream? Peter Wallinson joins Tom Woods in this section to talk about the progressive dream and how the rule by so-called experts came to be. And he's just talking about how to dismantle this. He also talks about Obama, who was also mentioned in the previous section in the Duran video about the Russiagate connections and the things that are leading to that and why that would be so absurd if that doesn't drop. But just showing how the progressives want this rule for like so-called experts. They set up that system. And then the right now is coming in like with Title IX, which Obama administration was using in a certain way against schools. That was like, yay, we're doing it. And then now when Trump is doing the same thing with the same Title IX, like, no, the government shouldn't be doing this. Well, regardless, it's just an example of how the progressive dream is actually a nightmare when actually put in practice.